Oh, we're live. Hey, welcome back to the stream. We're keeping it real. Sometimes goes right. It's not a fun stream, or I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. Obviously, I'm having hair trouble, but um, welcome everyone to I guess this breaking news edition of Real Take Wrestle Talk. And yeah, let's just get right into it. So, breaking news into the wrestling world today as Toni Storm is gone from WWE, and that is a quote from Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful. He has reported that Toni Storm is now gone from WWE. We don't know currently if this was specifically, like, we have not confirmed, I should say, whether or not this is because of the proverbial budget cuts. However, from the reporting that is out there from Sean Ross Sapp and other sources, it seems to be the case that that this is a case where people around Toni Storm, who various people have spoken to, have said that she asked for her release from the company. So this isn't just one of those hammer down things where it was, WWE saying, "Oh well, who's on the chopping block." It seems to be the case that this might have been, at least on one side, Toni Storm wanting to get out, and on the other side, a thing of WWE wanting to part ways, and it might just be a mutual parting of ways that what we're seeing. Best case scenario, let's hope that's what it is. But regardless of the circumstances, regardless of all of that, Toni Storm is now gone from WWE, and this is just another person in a long line of people from NXT, from Triple H's version of the NXT, the black and gold era of NXT, who had a large amount of success in WWE, in NXT, with Triple H at the helm there, who are now coming in and coming onto the main roster, and they don't do anything with them. She was backstage. She actually did a segment. I don't know what specifically it was. I think it was something for Fox. It was something for their show. She did an interview anyway with Ryan Satin, where she talked about her feelings about her slot in WWE, where she talked about how she doesn't feel like she's being used correctly. There's other reports that Toni Storm was sick of sitting in catering, which I imagine, while the food must be okay, I'm sure as a professional, the last thing you want to be doing is sitting on the sidelines, knowing that you're damn good, knowing that you are arguably a top five, definitely a top five performer in your division as far as talent goes. I can see for Toni Storm why that is difficult and why it's been difficult, because that is just, I think that's the perfect word for it. That is the perfect term to use. If you're someone who came up in the gold and black era of NXT and you're now going to the main roster, you're on the main roster in your first few months, it is just difficult. It's difficult to get over. It's difficult to get over with the creative you're given. It's difficult to get over given the fact that you aren't on TV, and sometimes you're not being highlighted, even though you're sitting there watching your fellow athletes, watching your fellow performers get that airtime, get all of this energy, get all of that airspace, and you're sitting there. And it's not even like you can go home, because you're there, you're watching it, and there's absolutely nothing you can do. It's indicative of everything that is wrong with that wrestling company that is WWE. And you can call me an AEW shill, you can call me whatever it is. I have been very, very frank, and I have been very, very honest, and I have been consistent on my take about this. And that is that WWE is not in the business of creating new stars who can wrestle. They're not a wrestling company. And that's why I think the more these releases happen, the less egregious in my eyes they are, honestly. They're still egregious to an extent because you have people losing their jobs. Again, we don't know. It looks like this isn't the case with the Toni Storm thing specifically, but the overall trend of how they treat talent, the overall trend of how they don't allow talent to get over, the overall trend of how they have people who can wrestle, like Toni Storm can wrestle any day of the week, twice on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, but they choose not to, because They want to have people, do acting, pal. They want to make movies, pal. They want to do anything that isn't professional wrestling, anything that the fans who are there, who spend money, want to see. That's part of the big reason why, WWE has been alienating so many hardcore wrestling fans, the fans who really spend the money. There's a lot of people who watch the TV shows, people. There's a lot of people who watch the TV show week to week, and I know that's WWE's bread and butter, but going to events, going to Mania, a lot of that's hardcore wrestling fans. And yeah, you can't fault someone like Toni Storm, who is now going to have, we'll talk about this in a second, she's going to have a lot of offers out there for her, I think, after her 90-day or 30-day, whatever it's going to be, likely a 90-day, because I doubt WWE would pull the same stuff they did with other main roster performers, but you never know. But either way, after her non-compete's up, you can bet your ass Toni Storm is either going to be in AEW, making money in AEW, making money in Impact, making money somewhere. She's going to be signed. It's only a matter of time. She's just that damn good. And that's honestly it. Like, Toni Storm, like, what was she doing in recent weeks? Like, she wasn't really doing much. I remember I remember they had like a tag team match on SmackDown, I believe it was, a few weeks ago. They had a tag team match, and everyone else got their entrance music. Everyone else came out. They had everyone else, looking like a star. And then what happens? Toni Storm got the jobber entrance, which is no entrance, which is they cut to commercial. They come back. In the ring is Toni Storm with the lights and her entrance kind of playing, but you don't get that walk to the ring. Everyone else, even her partner, got that walk to the ring, except Toni Storm. That tells you everything, honestly, I think you need to know about the way she's viewed backstage. And, she's been putting Charlotte over and over and over in recent weeks, which is fine. She's the world champion. I get that. But at the same time, you got to do something to build these people up. That's the thing about WWE. They have great heel champions. A lot of, all their champions right now seem to be great. The issue is when they bring someone up to challenge those champions, you know what happens? It's not like they build them up for like a few months to become a contender. It's not like they build them up for a few weeks to become a contender. It's just like, God. Well, who can we do next? Who's next in line? Toni Storm. We're going to feed Charlotte Toni Storm for the next 3, 4, 5 weeks. And then she's going to job. That's how they build up their championship matches, because they're singularly focused on solely building up their champions without looking at anything else going on in their company, without looking at the bigger picture of their superstars, without looking at what's going on with even their secondary stars or the stars they want to build up. Because, I guess they don't want to build them up, but now I'm just ranting, but I don't know. Let's go to the chat real quick. Again, guys, if you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. If you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please be sure to hit that follow button and leave a 5-star review. Since he's in the chat and he's obviously angry, saying some choice words for WWE, No Lara is in the chat saying, WWE, the place where you go to get fired, basically, at this point. Chucky Dolls, no, in the Daniel Bryan voice. No, indeed. WWE is lame. Ramit in the chat says, she's far better than Liv Morgan. Why is WWE releasing them? Tegan Nox and Ember Moon, not find here right now. Yeah, I don't even know. It's just, what can you say? It's stupid. It's stupid. Yeah. I don't understand how you can release someone like Ember Moon. Cincy in the chat says, her recent matches have been pretty crap. To be honest, I don't blame her for asking for her release. Yep. Chucky Doll says, brah, all WWE focus on is Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch. Yep. And sometimes not even that. Sometimes, here's the thing. If WWE knew what was best for Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch, they would actually take months to build up stars to challenge Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch and not make them look like geeks, not make them look like losers, make them look like stars, so that when Charlotte and Becky Lynch beat these people, Charlotte and Becky Lynch look better. But instead, what does it look like? Charlotte and Becky Lynch are just beating jobbers every week. Like Liv Morgan, and we'll talk about this more in the day one preview, but Liv Morgan looked like she was going to ascend. The crowds were behind her. It seemed like the booking was going to be behind her, but that fell through obviously. But they just don't know how to get new people over without being forced into that situation. It is so asinine. It's insane to me that this is a billion-dollar, multi-million-dollar, whatever you want to say, wrestling company. Insane, but it's not a wrestling company, like I said. So what do I know? Nolara says, I guess either Stardom or AEW for Toni. Yeah, I could see her doing Stardom, but I think AEW would benefit greatly from Toni Storm. Her and Britt Baker could have some boss matches. Since the edits in the chat says she's just been putting Charlotte over. Yep. Chucky Dolls says, so I'm not going to see Toni Storm on SmackDown anymore. Yeah, and you know what? Honestly, for both you and Toni Storm, that might be a good thing because she'll probably be on a Wednesday night sooner rather than later. Ramit says, where's Ember Moon and Tegan Knox? WWE released them very long ago. I think it's a 90-day. It's a 3-month no-compete for them, so they're probably still waiting that out. I believe that because again, I know they happened probably 2 rounds of, I think Ember Moon at least happened 2 rounds of releases ago, so that was still recent enough that it has not been that 90 days. But I think that 90 days is up like right before February though, so we still got about a month. Nolera in the chat says, the very thing WWE destroyed, WCW, they're becoming them. I mean, the booking is bad, yeah. The booking is pretty shit. I'll give you that. But WCW, I'm watching WCW in 1999, 2000. It is not great. Because there were bigger problems with WCW, and like it's not even close. Like Raw is significantly a better show than WCW in 2000. But I do understand the booking, the hot shotting, all that stuff, and then release. I do understand the sentiment though. I do understand that. Cincy in the chat says, well, now SmackDown's women's division sucks. I mean, you know what? Here's the thing. It doesn't have to. It really doesn't have to. And it's not here's the thing. The SmackDown women's division itself doesn't suck. The booking of the SmackDown's women's division is what sucks. I liken it to what AEW has been going on in AEW, before very recently. Like, you could say the talent was there for AEW, just like the talent's there for SmackDown. But it was the booking and sometimes lack thereof for AEW that led it to being a non-compelling division. And that's what SmackDown's women's division is right now. It's not compelling. Like one of their main feuds in the division is between Sonya Deville and Naomi. And both of them great competitors. Both of them magic in the ring. It should be, right? But they have no reason to be fighting. They just showed up one day, and Sonya Deville just didn't like Naomi. That's been the booking. I just don't like you, and it's not even like I don't like you because XYZ. I just don't like you. So yeah, and we're almost gonna have a match every few weeks, but then no match happens. It's stupid. The booking is stupid. The performers are great. The wrestlers are amazing. The booking is trash. Chucky Dolls, I should say, in the chat says, I see why everybody hates WWE so much. Yeah, it's very easy to see. I mean, here's the thing. WWE it's weird because WWE is the company that almost everyone grew up watching, or a lot of people, at least in my generation, definitely grew up watching because that's what was on when you were a kid, And it wasn't too much of a problem then. They booked well. Now they've just changed the way they do things. They brought in all these writers, and everything is so sanitized. Everything is so worn out and crossed out and reviewed multiple times to the point where by the time it gets back to the competitor, who like what is there? Like what's left? Just garbage, utter garbage, sanitized, not funny, non-entertaining, non-logical garbage. Ramit in the chat says, AEW women's roster is dependent on Britt Baker and Ruby Riott. Their women's roster is so... I don't agree. I mean, in comparison, so you're saying the AEW women's roster is weak in comparison to WWE. I mean, WWE has the strongest women's roster in the entire world. Yeah. I mean, I think that's just. I mean, I don't think that's up for debate. AEW has a AEW has a high quality women's roster though. I don't think that's it's weak by any means. Because not only do you have Ruby Riott, not only do you have Britt Baker, like you said, you have Chris Statlander. You're building up Jade Cargill. You have Thunder Rosa, who might be one of the best performers in the world. You have all of these people, even people like the Bunny. You have legit Layla Hirsch, who, by the way, should be wrestling on Dynamite. I don't understand why she's not. But you have someone like legit Layla Hirsch out there. Like they have a lot of talent, and they've showcased it multiple times. Nyla Rose is a great performer. There's so much talent there. It's just about, I think, putting them in the right position and highlighting them in the right way. And I think we're seeing the problem with AEW is that sometimes they don't. But whatever. Since he edits in the chat, says, plot twist, Sonya is racist in the storyline. I mean, I mean, look, it's... Is it weird that that's something that I don't think WWE is above doing that? Which is sad, because they also weren't above, the Roman Reigns cancer storyline, which Roman Reigns having cancer, I don't want to say was a storyline. I'm talking about using his cancer diagnosis in storylines. Because remember, Moxley, he had that one line on a terrible promo in Raw, and then he actually convinced creative not to say something that probably would have gotten people in trouble. So they've done a lot of crap before, so who knows. Since he edits in the chat, says Chris Statlander better than Becky Lynch. I am a huge stat fan. I'm a stat stan, but Becky Lynch, the overall package of Becky Lynch, I think, is the best in the world as far as the amount of eyeballs she brings, her in-ring ability, her promos, she might be she's like top 3 promos in the entire world. Best in the company, definitely, but in the entire world, she's top 3. Chris Statlander has a ways to go to I think be better than Becky Lynch. Again, I like Stat a lot. I think she's another person who I think she's kind of like AEW does this weird thing with the women's division where they just they build them up for a few weeks and then they just kind of fall out of the pecking order, and then they fall out of being highlighted on TV. But what can you do? I think the world of Stat, though. I think she's great. But Becky Lynch is the best. It's kind of like comparing Johnny Gargano, or not Johnny. It's kind of like comparing, I would say, I don't know. Something off the top of my head, I guess. Something like comparing Braun Breaker to Roman Reigns, right? Braun Breaker has a lot of potential and a lot of stuff to like. Give him a few years and we'll talk about it. But for now, it's Roman Reigns, right? So, I mean, that's what I see in my head. And again, those for you just joining us, Toni Storm gone from WWE. Fightful reported this. They broke this story. And they also said reports indicate that this might have been a mutual parting of ways, as Toni Storm apparently might have asked for her release. Not confirmed, but that's where the news is headed, and that's what it looks like. She obviously talked about earlier this week. There were multiple reports from Ringside and also Wrestle Talk, where she said that reports said that she was kind of sick of being in catering. So yeah, we'll see what happens with this. So guys, keep your questions coming. We're heading down the home stretch on this one, but keep your questions coming. We'll stick with this as long as we can. Since he edits in the chat, says, yeah, Becky Lynch is better than Chris Statlander. I'm just a Chris Statlander fanboy, as you should be. Chris Statlander is great. Chucky Doll says, the virus and WWE, the two most hated things right now. Definitely in the wrestling world right now, you can say that. Although I'm not gonna say his name on air, but there's a certain dickhead in the wrestling internet community who's made headwaves about his shitty views on things. But I'm not gonna go check out Real Take Sports on Twitter, at Real Take Sports, if you want to see more about that. But at Real Take Sports on Twitter, check to see about that. Again, guys, we're heading down the home stretch. Toni Storm just had an interview posted on YouTube a day ago. It was weird because it was with WWE on Fox. They WWE on Fox. It was Ryan Satin did an interview with Toni Storm, talking about her time in WWE and what she's looking forward to, and Charlotte Flair and all that stuff. And then boom, next day it's like gone. And I mean, look, again, for whatever reason it is, whether it's she asked for her release or WWE released her. At this point, it's just comical because every single thing that I watch week to week can change and does change in WWE because they release people who are on TV just days before, and that doesn't make me want to watch the product. If I'm watching Game of Thrones and Jon Snow just disappeared, no explanation, midway through season 4, I'd be asking questions. I'd be like, what the hell? Where's my favorite character on Game of Thrones? And I think you see a lot of people doing that. You had a lot of people doing that when The Fiend got released. You had so many people doing that with all these releases. There's been almost 80 people released by WWE over the past 2 years. I can't even name one or two because I'd be leaving so many out. But you guys understand what I'm saying. It's just why am I invested if the people aren't invested either? If the people at the top aren't invested either. Omar, 202 Degrees in the chat says, Omar, I can't stand, or I can see Shotzi being released next. I mean, I don't want to get too much into that whole thing because I don't like speculating on releases or anything like that. But I mean, it's another person who WWE seem to do not a lot with, and it's another person who you could see them not caring about in the long-term plans of things because they don't think long-term. They only think, long-term with about 3 or 4 people, and then after that, it's just like, all right, cool, week to week, what are we doing? We don't even know hours before the show. Yep, and Britt Baker, you're right, 202, did tweet out a picture of of Toni Storm, I should say, of Toni Storm, so and it's getting interesting. It's getting interesting, isn't it? Last few chats here, guys, as we are wrapping up. Again, Toni Storm gone from WWE. It seems to be she asked for her release, although it's not confirmed. We can read into that. 202 Degrees in the chat says, let's get Storm. Yep. Chucky Doll says, they might as well release Liv Morgan next. I don't want to get into speculation about that, but I hope not, man. Liv Morgan is... I think you put the title on her, don't you? I think you put the title on her at day one. Or, she's over. Let her be over. I don't know, but we'll see. No Lara in the chat says, when the door closes for Toni, another one will open, AEW and others. Absolutely. She's going to be a very sought-after free agent. Absolutely. Again, guys, we're just about wrapping up. If you haven't already, please hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. We'll talk more about this, I'm sure, as the next few days go on. Hope you all have a happy new year. Hope you all stay healthy. Enjoy your time. Be safe. Be healthy. And from all of us here at Real Take Sports, take it easy and keep it real.